If you'd like to, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I post every Wednesday.
Hey everyone, my name is Catherine and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you all about my favorite way to travel and why it is group travel. I know that there's usually lots of questions when it comes to group travel, especially if you're wanting to do it solo, which is the most common way to go on these group trips. So if you're thinking of doing it solo, you will be in the majority. It's usually like 65% plus of people on these group travel trips are solo. And I just wanted to talk about some of the reasons why I love group travel. I've gone on so many different group travel trips in the past with EF Ultimate Break, Contiki, Top Deck. I've considered places like G Adventures. There's so many different places to choose from. I've made a list on my phone, so I will be looking at that and telling you all why I love group travel. For one, they organize everything for you, from transportation, including going from city to city, and flights, and even transportation within the city itself. They organize for you the hotels, they organize for you breakfasts, and oftentimes the dinners. You have your own representative or tour guide from that specific organization, so EF Ultimate Break or Contiki, and then oftentimes you will in addition have a tour guide that is specialized to give tour guides for that specific city as well. The second is there's so many different options and there's lots of themes when it comes to group travel, so you can do ones that are specifically food tour related. I love to do the ones specifically that are meant for young adult, especially if I'm traveling solo. I don't want to be traveling with a bunch of 50-year-olds. I'm sure they have great life experience and can be great friends, but I'd rather make friends with people my own age that are in their 20s or even 30s. When you go on these group travel trips that are meant for younger people, they're oftentimes from like 18 to 35. And I've noticed the more common like Europe trips, it's usually a younger crowd in the early 20s because that's typically where people want to travel to first. Whereas with older people such as me who are in their mid to late 20s or early 30s, they've been to a lot of these more common countries and they start to go to more uncommon places. Like I went to, for example, Ecuador and the Galapagos last year, and that was a lot of like on the older side. So that's a tip as well. Side note, if you're in your late 20s to early 30s and you want to be on tours that are more so late 20s to early 30s, because even that with early 20s, there's a big kind of difference in those years, is to go on more of like off the beaten trips. It also allows you to make friends with like-minded people. If you go and do a solo trip, it can get lonely, and I know a lot of times people who do solo trips, they make friends in the hostels so they're not truly alone. But I feel like with that, people are coming and going all the time, and you're gonna have at most like 1, 2, maybe 3 nights with these people that you've met and befriended in these hostels, and then they leave and then you have to do it all over again. Whereas with these tours, people start and stop at the same time as you, so you will have an entire week or two to get to know these people and befriend them. I'm an introvert, so it takes me a bit longer to warm up to people and befriend them, and I feel like being in hostels and having people come and go all the time, it would just be extremely exhausting. And I'm sure for a lot of people it works, but for me, I just see so many benefits to just traveling and having the same schedule with the same people on the same tour. Another reason is as you get older, it just gets harder and harder to be able to travel with the people that you know from your hometown, from your college, from whatever, whether it is financial reasons or people just don't have the time, or they start to have kids, they get married, they have responsibilities, whatever it is, and they're just not able to travel. And I hate the idea of me not doing something that I'm able to and want to do, but I don't do it because I don't have a friend to do it with. I don't want someone else to stop me unintentionally. No one's intending to stop me from travel, but their circumstances don't allow them to travel at that particular time when I'm able to, and I don't want that to stop me from traveling. And I'm not, again, the biggest fan of just complete solo traveling, so these tours are the perfect medium where I can go solo. I don't have to rely on anyone. I book the trips, and every time I book a trip and I go solo on these tours, I make friends. It takes a couple of days, but I make friends, And then I've many times seen them afterwards if they happen to be traveling through the Seattle area, or I'm in their area, or even go on future trips with those people. I hear that happen all the time. And that's just why I really love group travel. I also just think it's safer with a tour group. You're with people all the time, the same people. You have the representative, the EF Ultimate Break tour guide, or Contiki, or whatever it may be. You're technically on a tour under a tour company, and they are liable for you. They don't want you to get hurt, and they will do everything they can. And it's, you know, their job, their tour company. They know the safe places to go to. They have the connections, and it is just generally safer than just going solo. And especially I can see wanting to do solo trips to certain places like, say, Western Europe. But again, off the beaten path trips, it is especially better to go on a group travel trip, especially as a female as well. I also love the flexibility of these tours. You can pay, for example, in monthly payments. Obviously every tour company is different, but again, for EF Ultimate Break, you can pay in monthly payments and just any bi-monthly, whatever it may be, and there's no interest. So you can just book and hassle-free. If you get travel insurance, you can change completely the dates of your tour up to 60 days prior to your tour. Another thing is, again, with flexibility, you can upgrade to get your own room if that makes you feel more comfortable. And there's also, for example, Ultimate Plus options for many of these tours. So if you see that, for example, on the EF website, you will get to know that you're not going to be staying in hostels, you're going to be staying in hotels and have more premium amenities. So that is great. It's nothing like super fancy, but just not hostels, because I'm not going to lie, as I've gotten older, I just don't have as much of an interest in staying in hostels. I've stayed in so many hostels in my early to mid 20s, and now in my late 20s, I'm just not as interested in it. I'm not against it. I'm definitely not, I will, but it's nice to know that they're premium amenities. And also, a lot of these tour companies, they're constantly adding new trips. One thing I like, for example, more about, say, Contiki versus EF Ultimate Break is that they just have so many more options for tours. But I also started traveling with EF Ultimate Break back in 2015, and that was more years than I like to admit ago, and they've added so many tours. And for example, I wanted to go to South Korea for the longest time, and they added it last year during their Black Friday sale. They're constantly adding tours, and it's just incredible, and it's just addicting. Also, once you go on one tour, it's so easy to just want to go on another and another and another. And every time I go on these tours, it's either people that have gone on lots of them in the past, or it's their first time and they're ready to book another one ASAP. Another thing is also a lot of these tours that are in the same region, the way that the EF or Contiki has them set up, it allows you to stack them easily. So for example, if you want to do South Korea and Japan with EF Ultimate Break, they have their dates that oftentimes align. So that way you can just do 2 of those tours back to back and hit 2 countries, and there's not going to be with this weird gap in between. So you can go for a week to Japan, and then in 2 days your trip in South Korea starts, and it just lines up very well. And EF has that in mind and does that for you, along with a lot of other tour companies. And again, it depends on the tour company, but oftentimes flights are included. Make sure that you double check, because with Contiki they aren't. With EF Ultimate Break they are, but you do have the option to not have them included if you want to book your own flights. But they also are flexible with their flights if you want to fly in a week earlier or fly out a week later, or if you want to do 2 different trips, you can book one of those trips with EF with flights and the second without, and then just tell EF, hey, I'm actually doing 2 back-to-back trips, so can my returning flight be not from this first country but from this next country, if that makes sense. And the last thing I have off the top of my head is they used to have Facebook groups, but now, and again it depends on the tour company, since the pandemic I've only gone on EF Ultimate Break, so maybe Contiki has this and some other ones. But for EF Ultimate Break, they have this app that you basically get to see everything in one place for what you need to do before your tour, whether it's make sure you have a certain visa, make sure you have certain vaccinations, or make sure you're bringing certain specific items for the tour. And just knowing that everything is in one place and you can go and they have a checklist for you. They make it super easy for you, and you can see the other people traveling on your tour. So you can go see who they are, befriend them on Facebook, or chat within the app itself. Many times there are WhatsApp groups that are made because that just seems to be the easiest for everybody, and you can get to know people and even befriend them virtually before meeting them, which is really great because that can ease a lot of people's anxieties when going on tours, especially on their own, is that you know that there's this person that has this interest as you, and you've already bonded with this person about this, and it's just really great as well that there's that feature available to you. So you kind of have more of the unknown become known to ease that anxiety. That is, for the most part, why I love group travel trips, and I really want to go on more. I love them so much. My favorite way to travel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you've done any group travel trips, with what company, where you've gone, or if you want to or are planning to. And I actually have a code with EF Ultimate Break, so you can get $100 off your trip. I genuinely love EF Ultimate Break, and I've been traveling with them since 2015. And I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're seeing this, and I hope to see you in a future video of mine. Bye!